business. Yeah, we're the ones that did this. We made the change that you just witnessed. Tore down the walls, now we're in this. We're not your product, not part of your plan. From every screen, from every place, we carved our mark, set the pace. Voices cross oceans, anger went live. A heartbeat of millions kept the fight alive. Let's get down to business. No way you can win this. Hey, you stacked the deck, we tore it apart. Cash can't buy you a beating heart. You bought the lie, sold it for gold. Now the truth breaks through the mold. Let's get down to business. No way you can win this. Hey, there's no way.
You're reading that right. Check it out. Ubisoft to release new Assassin's Creed game every 6 months, according to this new report. It says right here, it's from the Ubisoft insider, Tom Henderson. He's come up quite a few times here in the past few months, and he had this to say. He says that Ubisoft has a strong lineup of releases across its various series. This includes the Ghost Recon games, Far Cry 7, the recent confirmed Rayman game that they're doing there, the remake, I guess, of the original, and a new Far Cry extraction shooter going on. It also includes a slew of Assassin's Creed games, including the already revealed Assassin's Creed Shadows and the projects that are still underway, including Hexy and Invictus. These are not official names yet. They haven't released what they actually are. So here's the thing that kind of stood out to me, and I think it stands out to you, and that's why you're here. It says they've got Assassin's Creed Shadows. They've also got Assassin's Creed Invictus. They've got Assassin's Creed Hexy. And they've got the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, and they plan to do Assassin's Creed every 6 months or so for the next 10 years. So I have to ask you, do you think that this is going to cause brand erosion? Do you think people are going to feel a little exhausted by all of the Ubisoft stuff that's coming out, particularly all of the Assassin's Creed stuff? Because I assure you, it's not just going to be these games that come out and they're going to be just the game that's on the PC and the Steam, right? It's just not going to be that alone, right? It's going to be manga, it's going to be comics, it'll be novelizations, might even have a Netflix tie-in. You saw what happened with Concord and Amazon. So it's not going to be just like, oh, we made a new Assassin's Creed game, guys. When you get time, check it out on the Play Store. Check it out on Steam. Go over to the Epic Store and check it out. But no, they're legitimately going to do like an Assassin's Creed Shadows level release every 6 months. Now, I'll remind you, that worked out really, really well for Marvel, right? They had a really good time just oversaturating the market that they made, okay? That's what's going to happen with this Assassin's Creed thing. Part of the magic of this process of releasing games has always been the anticipation. When you're sitting there expecting it to come out like the pumpkin spice lattes at Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks and stuff, it loses a bit of its magic, right? It loses a bit of the of what draws you in. Like there needs to be like not a decade between games, mind you, that's quite a bit. But there needs to be a bit of a buffer zone between this stuff, right? It needs to be a bit of time for it to soak into the market and for people to want a new game. And I really don't think 6 months is long enough. When you think of the average adult player, can you finish a game in 6 months? And I'm not talking about guys that are like, when you have like your own setup, you're like legit into having set time during the week to game. I'm talking about people that have like a 9 to 5 and they're casual gamers. They pick up an Assassin's Creed game because they had it when they were a teenager. And voila, it takes them about 6 months to finish it because they only get about 2-4 hours at a time to play it before they get tired and have to go to bed for work tomorrow. It's one of those things. When you're not a committed gamer, when it's not your devoted hobby, right, your number one hobby, it kind of takes a while to finish these games. So by the time you're finished playing Mirage, for instance, by the time you get around to finishing that, well, ta-da, here's Shadows. And then once you're finishing that, so it's like you get no time to actually go back and say, I want another Assassin's Creed game. It's just there like a cheeseburger at McDonald's. The value menu Assassin's Creed. I don't think it's right to delay a game if it's ready to go. They claim that it's ready to go. This is what they had to say over here. He says the chief financial officer had this to say about it, and he says that the official financial officer, rather, I'm calling him Freddie because I don't want to try that name. I think I'll get kicked off of YouTube if I try that name in French. So here we go. So now the Ubisoft financial officer, Freddie, said during the company earnings call yesterday that the team was confident in releasing Assassin's Creed Shadows in February. Now, he's addressing the rumors that have gone around. I believe they started on Insider Gaming. I'm not sure. Could have been Nintendo Life. One of the two there. That they started, that the word was going around that March was going to end up being when Assassin's Creed was going to come out. Now, that made sense considering they were having trouble with the strikers. And I have a feeling the only reason why you'd call the strikers, the people who were working from home before they were striking, the only reason why you'd call them in is because you needed people to work on Assassin's Creed Shadows unexpectedly, and you needed them to put in long hours that aren't in their contract. It's one of those things. When you get somebody in a building, you can pressure them to stay there a little bit longer. Get them some pizza and say, hey, we're going to do a long night, and sit in the corner while they diligently code and craft and do their job that they were hired to do, but far beyond the hours they agreed to. And so I understand why the strikers are a bit upset about being called back on that behalf. But I would argue that gaming development in general has these limitations. You are going to end up putting in long hours on anything that you are truly passionate about. It is not a 9 to 5 kind of plug and play cubicle job. This is not data entry. When you are creating a game, it should be something you're passionate about. This is kind of the problem I have with these studios that want to keep stamping out these games. Like, think about what we just discussed. An Assassin's Creed game every 6 months. So, like, where's the passion in all that? Where is that? Where is that going to come through when there's quite literally no time to sit and enjoy the world you're creating and thus develop a passion for what you're creating? When Assassin's Creed 3 came out, it was clear that people who had a very deep love of American history were involved in it. Now, they may not have been the people that were writing the story. They could have been the consultants. They could have been the developer that's working on the coding end of it. But someone in there made the colonial America look absolutely beautiful. They made the speech match up with what you'd expect people to be saying on the streets of colonial America. They made the founders look and behave, even down to their mannerisms, in a way that you would expect a human from that time to behave. And the history played out as it did in that time, with a few minor alterations in order to make things interesting. Because again, Ubisoft was not trying to tell us that this was made to be as accurate as possible. They were just saying we brought people in to advise us on things we may have missed. They weren't bragging that they had hired all these cultural experts to make sure that they brought the most authentic visualization of colonial America to life. They were telling us that they had hired people to make sure that they filled in the gaps. A little different, right? And so that passion came through in that game. Now, Connor's politics aside, how that all plays out with what goes on with his relationship with colonial America, that's fine and dandy too, because that represents an in-depth understanding of something that even stays present in today's American culture. So I think it's important that we step back and consider just what these delays mean, okay? The passion isn't there. So that's why this game is taking so long. That's why there have been so many bumps and bruises. That's why we come to find out that they were bringing in historians much later than what they initially would on any other project. They admitted to that one. We have that over on bounding.com. That's right. We have a news site, by the way, not just a YouTube channel. And so what's interesting about this is that they're saying now that they're going to meet the release date after telling us that they needed to delay this to polish it. So I have to ask, what was the problem? Were we going to end up with things that happened to us, Star Wars Outlaws? I was going to say Assassin's Creed Outlaws. That's probably one of them anyway. So one of them coming in the 6 months. Maybe that's the one that's the one with the Fall Guys thing that we heard about earlier. There was just going to be parkour and no murder. Because that's what it's Assassin's Creed. It's a tickle fight in like vibrant colors. But speaking of a tickle fight, it certainly is not a tickle fight at the boardroom, in the investor boardroom at Ubisoft. According to 80 level here, we have a earnings report that demonstrates that there's been a almost 20% drop from the first half of 2023 to 2024 in Ubisoft's profit margins. Now, the second part of this is that in the second quarter, now that we've just passed that and they've talked about it, that had a 36% drop from last year to this year. Now, I don't know about you, but those are incredibly bad numbers. Now, I would understand if the first part of the year was kind of low because, for whatever reason, folks just weren't invested in the Star Wars Outlaws situation, right? So they didn't come in on it. However, in the back half of that, with the games that they have released, that's awful. That is terrifying when you get down to what actually is happening. So the situation is that they are experiencing a drop across everything. Even the net bookings have dropped down here. So what you might be wondering what the net bookings are here. So the net bookings is defined as the net amount of products and services sold digitally or sold physically in a period of time. So like the quarter. And so that's a huge drop here, even on the stuff that's like the old games are down like 28%, almost 30% drop on the old games. That's how much Ubisoft has like poisoned their public relations, has poisoned the consumer base around everything they've created. They've retroactively made people dislike their old games. It's amazing. And in light of that, we got Yves Guillemot, and I refuse to say his name right, okay? You got Yves Guillemot coming out here and saying the claim, he says that despite recent setbacks, all of these crazy things that are going on at Ubisoft, oh no, the Assassin's Creed studio, which is Quebec, which is Ubisoft Quebec, that's who's working on Shadows. This studio is working to restore a level of creativity and innovation that built Ubisoft's success. Now, this is in 2024, guys. This is after they did the whole Assassin's Creed Shadows game that was ready to go out on the shelf. And now they're like, we're going to introduce some creativity and innovation that made Ubisoft very unique. We're going to bring back all the things that you came to know us for. And for some reason, we're going to inexplicably pass over that we're admitting we abandoned that for a while. See, that's what's interesting about that little tiny quote is that they apparently, to their estimation, have stopped being creative and stopped innovating, right? And now they're going to bring that back on a game that was formerly supposed to come out in a few days, right? I think it was like 8 days from now is the beginning, just the very big nose. It was like a November 11th, November 12th, it was supposed to come out, something like that. So yeah, it's like 2 weeks from now. It was supposed to release originally, and now it's up to February, and we'll see if it manages to make that or not. But now they're going to start introducing creativity and innovation? Now? Okay, cool. You've also got the Black Flag remake. So are they going to introduce creativity and innovation on that? Because that's not a remaster situation. That's a whole remake. That they may end up creating a whole new game and slapping that old title on it. See, I don't put anything past them anymore. If you can think of something shady, Ubisoft is probably considering it. You remember they have that NFT thing going on now. That's right. You could check it out. The Ubisoft NFT game will bring you exactly what you want on Google. Believe me, you could spend $60,000 on NFTs in that mobile game on your phone. Yeah, keep that out of the reach of children, okay? When a little kid comes up to you and says, you got any games on your phone, and you have that on your phone, tell them no. Pull your phone out of your pocket and heave it into the nearest body of water, just in case that kid manages to weasel that thing out of your pocket and select the $60,000 NFT. You might be wondering, why is Ubisoft investing in NFTs at all? It's a great question. And I'm sure there's an answer for that. But we're not going to get it anytime soon. Speaking of answers we're not going to get anytime soon, Ubisoft asks, name a game you're proud to have 100% completed. And Bill, off the top rope, like a WWE superstar, says, hey, Ubi, why don't you name a game you have completed at 100% before releasing it? And that right there is expert roasting right there. That's to a crisp. They are burned to a crisp here. But what did come out of this earnings call was something that surprised quite a few people. Not so much that it was making money, but that it was this game that was making money because they put so much effort into X Defiant that Rainbow Six Siege has almost made more money alone than any other Ubisoft franchise. And that's right, it's over $3 billion over the past decade that Rainbow Six Siege has, generated. And so that doesn't seem like a lot over a 10-year span, but when you consider it's one single video game, it's not a franchise of video games, it is a single video game. That is, that's pretty hefty. That's pretty cool. I would say that this is one of those situations where Ubisoft needs to listen to the investors. You remember AJ Investment said that they needed to do more Rainbow Six Siege stuff. And so they're absolutely right to do that. If you hear that tone, by the way, feel free to hit like and subscribe. I'll try to line that up with the little bubble. But back to what's happening on screen. So the Rainbow Six Siege game alone has made more money than Assassin's Creed has, than games like X Defiant have. And so I just wanna reiterate the situation that they're in. And of course, as you saw in that opening, we'll revisit it here. Ubisoft Entertainment is still down. They are recovering very gently, though. It's a very gentle recovery going on here. And this is the 5-year. It looks like the 5-year. Yeah, it's the 5-year overlook of Ubisoft's profits. And as you can see, they're still quite a ways down. As you saw in the intro from Pirate Nation, it is it's looking pretty bad there because back in 2000, this stock was worth 20% more than where it sits right now. Where it sits right now, it is worth 20% more. I don't know about you, but that's not good news. I don't know about you, but that's not good news. I think that's bad situation for anybody that is investing in Ubisoft, and they should probably reconsider that. I'm not a financial advisor in one way or another. I don't have a degree in this stuff. I'm not an economist by any measure. But that's a lot of red, that's a lot of down, and they don't seem to really recognize the threat that they're under, considering they want to put out put out Assassin's Creed games every 6 months. That's why I'm confused. Like, my brain's just like fried trying to figure out how that's going to work. When you consider like how much it took 10 years to put out Assassin's Creed Shadows, what is happening? How are you going to every 6 months? What are you thinking? How are you going to, is it AI? You're going to use AI to generate that stuff? I don't know, guys. You'll have to let me know down in the comments below what you think is going to happen with this whole thing. I'm not confident they can land this. And what do you think about Assassin's Creed games for the next 10 years, every 6 months? I don't know, guys. Until the next one, good luck out there.